Future Vision: Staying Safe from Scammers, presented by Antony Horner, Site Airedale, on the 23rd of February 2023. Future Vision is a series of technology events aimed at people living with sight loss. Future Vision is a collaborative project between 6 local independent sight societies: Sight Advice South Lakes in Cumbria, My Sight Notts in Nottingham, Site Airedale in the Airedale area of North and West Yorkshire, Support for Sight in Mid and West Essex, Sutton Vision in the London Borough of Sutton, and Outlookers in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire.
Good morning, everybody. This is the Rainbow Group, which is a collaboration of 6 sight loss charities around the country. This is our Future Vision session, which is about assistive technology. Today, we have Antony Horner from Site Airedale, which is in Yorkshire. And Antony is going to talk about scams. He's not going to do scams, he's going to talk about scams. And also, if we might do a bit of Q&A at the end, question and answers about anything whatsoever. We made that offer today to our expert panel, which is me, Antony, Shuji, and Vicky. Okay. So over to you, Antony. I shall put you on spotlight.
Thank you very much. So my name's Antony Horner and I'm from Site Airedale in West Yorkshire. In this talk, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to stay safe from scammers. So we're going to look at what is a scam, who falls for scams, and why do people fall for scams, and we'll use a bit of a case study of somebody who fell for a scam, who you wouldn't expect would fall for a scam, and what you can do to keep yourself safe. Then we'll have a look at some common scams, and finally we will finish up with a question and answer session. So what is a scam? A scam is basically an attempt to gain money through dishonesty. It can be via the post, it can be via email, the phone, or in person. So who is at risk of being scammed? Well, in reality, everybody is at risk of being scammed, given the right circumstances. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell you about a case study of a chap called Jim Browning. Now, Jim Browning is a YouTuber. He has a YouTube channel which specializes in exposing technical support scammers. Jim is able to infiltrate the scammers' computers, phones, and CCTV systems, and attempts to stop them by warning victims, deleting the scammers' data, and generally causing as much disruption to their operations as possible. In July 2021, Jim bought a new phone and he logged into YouTube using it. A day later, he receives an email which appears to be from Google, threatening to suspend his YouTube account, as it said he had a duplicate AdSense account. Had it not been for this coincidence of getting this message the day after he bought a new device, he said he probably wouldn't have fallen for this scam. The message had a link in it which he had to click on to resolve this issue. He had checked the message had come from Google.com, and it had done. And he also hovered over the link which pointed to chat.google.com. So everything appeared everything appeared okay. So once he was through to what he thought was a Google technical support technician, he failed to notice that the email address on the chat was youtube@creatorpartners.com, when it should have been youtube.com or google.com. As he was busy and distracted, that's why he didn't notice it. So, as he was speaking to this person, none of what this person was asking him to do appeared to be suspicious. However, as he went on, he started to feel a bit uncomfortable because messages kept popping up about deleting all content of a channel. But however, because he thought he was speaking to a rural technical support employee, this person was able to reassure him that no, everything is fine, it's not a problem. So he carried on talking to this person, and then this person started asking for login details. And that's when the penny finally dropped, that he had in fact fallen for a scam. And the aim of the scam was that the scammer would take over a successful YouTube channel, and having done that, they would then get the advertising revenue from that channel. So why did he fall for the scam? Well, first of all, there was a technical failing. At the time, it was possible for anybody to send email that appeared to come from Ural.com, and that gave the message legitimacy. There was also a sense of urgency in the email. If you don't click on this link, then we're going to delete your YouTube channel. There was also that coincidence which gave it the sense of legitimacy. The fact that he brought a phone the previous day and signed into Ural with it, and now he suddenly got a message from Ural. That gave it a bit of legitimacy. Plus, he was busy, he was inattentive, so he didn't notice things that he might otherwise have noticed, or he didn't ask questions that he might otherwise have asked. Fortunately, in his case, YouTube were able to restore his channel, and when I put this up on YouTube, I'll put a link to the video where he explains all of this. So why do people fall for scams? Well, scammers use techniques what's known as social engineering. As human beings, we have a natural tendency to trust other people. Social engineering is when somebody takes advantage of this natural tendency to manipulate you into doing something that you wouldn't otherwise do. And of course, the motives for doing this are nefarious. What techniques do the scammers use? People might fall for stuff because they're emotionally vulnerable. So somebody might be stressed, they might be tired, they might be distracted. And therefore, they're not able to perform the same level of checks that they otherwise would. And this doesn't necessarily mean that there's a big event going on in their life. It may just be that they had a very bad night's sleep, and they're not quite as sharp today as they would be otherwise, as they're tired. Scammers will also act on your emotions. So they want to make you feel scared, they want to make you feel hopeful, they want to make you feel excited or curious. They also take advantage of the fact that we, as humans, have unconscious biases. So one example is we tend to be more trusting of people that we feel are like us. So a scammer might say, "Where are you from?" And you might say, "Yorkshire." And the scammer might say, "Oh, well, my wife's from Leeds." And that just builds that little bit of connection between you, which subconsciously just makes people trust people slightly more. A scammer won't come out directly and ask you the information they want to know. What they will do is they will gradually build things up over time. So they will start asking you fairly innocent questions, and this will help lull you into a false sense of security. Because once you're already speaking to them and you're answering their questions, you're already a bit more receptive. And as they're talking to you, they'll gradually ask more and more personal questions to eventually get the information they want. They'll also use a sense of urgency. It's really important that we do this now, or something bad will happen. You'll lose out, you'll get arrested. And this is what they did, what happened with Jim. The fact that they were going to shut down his YouTube channel if he didn't click on this link and deal with this matter. And of course, the reason why they use this sense of urgency is because they don't want you thinking about it. If you went away and had a think about it, you'd very quickly realise that there was something dodgy going on. And that's the last thing they want you to start doing. They will also use secrecy. So they will, for example, a scammer might say that they're a fraud investigator, investigating fraud at your local bank. They want you to go to your bank and withdraw some money, and they will pick that money up. And they will say to you, it's important that you don't tell the bank staff why you're doing this, because, this is an undercover investigation. Of course, the reality is they don't want you telling the bank staff, because the bank staff will know it's a scam and let you know straight away. We also have a fear of missing out on things, and scammers will take advantage of that. So if there's a danger that we might miss out on an opportunity, or we're told something is in short supply, we might act more impulsively than we would otherwise. And you see this all the time when you look at sales in shops and things. Often you'll see sale must end soon, or while stocks last. And of course that's all to, if make you act perhaps a bit quicker and a bit more impulsively than you would otherwise. They will also take advantage of current events. So this may be, as in Jim's case, he was expecting to hear, when he received the email, it didn't seem funny to him. There was that coincidence, and that gave it legitimacy. But they will also take advantage of world events. So unfortunately, as we've all seen the pictures coming out of Turkey, there are plenty of people who are very happy to take advantage of the fact that people want to help. And also what we'll see over the coming weeks and months is we'll see scams which are sort of related back to Turkey. Somebody needs to get money out of Turkey because of the earthquake and that kind of stuff. Also, other people are doing something. So if we're told that somebody else has done something and they were okay, we're more likely to go on along with it, even if we're a bit dubious about the validity of the claim. It does help persuade us. And also authority. So we're more likely to respond to somebody if we're told that they're somebody in authority. So if somebody says, I'm a police officer, I'm investigating X and I need your help, or I'm a tax inspector, then we're more likely to respond to that. So what can we do to protect ourselves? Well, first of all, it's okay to say no. We are very bad at saying no to people. However, it's perfectly fine to say to somebody, no, I need to check with my boss, or no, I want to talk to my friend about this. Any legitimate caller will not mind you wanting to check things out. Also, check companies out before you do business with them. Do they have a proper physical address, not just a PO box? Search the company's house website and see if they're registered. And if it's a shop or a business you've never dealt with before, maybe pay them using PayPal or Apple Pay so you don't have to disclose your credit card details to them. Also, don't click on anything you don't trust. If you're not sure about an email you've received, contact the company using a method you know is legitimate and ask them if it's genuine. They'll be more than happy to confirm that something's genuine or not genuine. Also, be careful about what personal information you give out. So, for example, I recently saw a post on Facebook which said something like, what was your favorite band as a teenager? And you might think, oh, that's perfectly innocent, and you might put status quo. One of the problems is, though, is one of the security questions, if you set up an Apple product, is what was the first concert you went to? So if I'm a scammer and I know that your favorite band as a teenager was Status Quo, chances are the first concert you went to was a Status Quo concert. So it's those little things that people can make links and build up a profile about you. Unfortunately, the minute you start setting up online accounts, there's always a danger that those online accounts are going to be hacked and that the information will be leaked. And what you can do is you can check to see if your email address has been included in any of these leaks by visiting a website called haveibeenpwned.com, which is a very strange spelling. It's actually have I been is spelt normally, but the pwned is spelt PWNED.com. Also, find out what your bank will do in the event that there is a problem. There will be information on their website about what they will and won't ask you, or just contact their customer service and say to them, what will happen if there's a problem with my account, or if you still have a branch, then go into your local branch and ask them. Banks will be more than happy to tell you what to expect in the event of a problem. It's also important that you check your social media accounts. Check how they are set up, what your security settings are, and check what your privacy settings are, and that you're not giving out too much information to people who aren't your friends. So how can you spot a fake email? Well, typically they will have poor spelling and grammar, although they are becoming a lot better at this now. So, a lot of them, a lot of the language has improved in quality. It may be that the message has come from a free email service, such as Gmail or Hotmail. It may be that the email address is completely different to the organization's web address. And of course, one of the easiest things to do is simply compare the suspicious email with an email that you know is legitimate from that company and see what the differences are. As we've heard before, there will be a sense of urgency. It's important that you click on this link, because otherwise we will delete your email account, or you will lose access to your bank account, or something like that. There will be a prominent website link, and in some instances the text of the email is contained within an image, and they do this to try and get around anti-spam software. Also, if you weren't expecting an email from the company, then that's a reason to be a bit suspicious. And like I say, if in doubt, contact the company through a method you know is legitimate and ask them. So let's have a look at passwords. So the traditional advice with passwords is to have a strong, secure password and to never write it down. That really now is out of date. So what you should do is you should have a different password for every one of your online accounts. So you shouldn't have one password and reuse it, because what will happen is if one of your accounts is leaked, the spammer will take that username and password combination, and then they will try it on other accounts. So let's say, for example, you sign up for a gift card website, website where you can send gift cards to people. That website gets hacked, and this scammer gets hold of your username and password for that website. What they will then do is say, well, does this username and password work on Amazon? Does it work on Facebook? Does it work on... And they will go through, and this is all automated. It's not somebody sat there doing this. It's all automated, and they can scan hundreds of websites, a second. So that's why you really need to have a separate password for each of your online accounts. But that's a big job. So the thing that you really should do today is change the password for your email, because your email is your most important online account. Anybody who has access to your email account can pretend to be you. They can request password resets and access your other accounts. So traditional advice is that you have a complicated password and you don't write it down. I'm going to tell you that it is actually okay to write your password down. It isn't preferable, but it is all right to write them down and put them in a safe place. Ideally, though, you should save your passwords in your web browser or use a password manager. That's the best way of doing it. So let's look at actually constructing a password. So rather than having random text, it's better to create a password using 3 random words. And we'll look at that in a second. And the next thing you need to do is turn on 2-factor authentication. And this means that if somebody tries and logs into your account, you will usually get a text message, or you'll be asked to type in a verification number. And this helps stop, it's not foolproof, but it does help stop a scammer gaining unauthorized access to your accounts. So 3 random words. So traditional advice is that you create a complex password with a mixture of upper and lowercase characters, other characters and numbers. So here we've got a password, N, which is uppercase N, percentage sign, 8, uppercase X, lowercase Z, 2, uppercase B, 9. So let's say that that's your password. Now, I would imagine most of you have already forgotten what I said, because that password is very hard for human beings to remember. However, it's very easy for a computer to guess it. It will actually take about 8 hours for a computer to guess that. The idea of using 3 random words is to create a long, easy to remember password. So our new password is Spanish leaf escape. That's very easy for a human being to remember. However, it's very difficult for a computer to guess. And it would actually take around 20 trillion years for a computer to guess that. However, there is a problem with this. As human beings, we are very bad at random. So what you really need to do is either use a password manager or use a random word generator. So now let's have a look at some scams. So the first one is a money transfer job. So this is often advertised as a job working as a money transfer agent or something similar. The job is you'll receive payment from customers, you'll take a small percentage for yourself, and then you'll transfer the rest onto your supposed employer. Unfortunately, this is money laundering. Criminals, the idea of this is that criminals use an innocent person's bank account to clean the money. At minimum, your bank account will be closed, and you'll get a bad credit rating. At worst, you can get 14 years in prison.
Mhm.
So never let anyone use your bank account or pay money into your bank account with the idea of you transferring it somewhere else. The next one is advanced fee fraud. Fee fraud. This is probably the one that everybody's heard of. You get an email from a Nigerian prince who wants money, well, who wants your help in getting money out of his country. Uh, that's one variation of it. And of course, it's not just Nigeria or Africa. The person can be in any country. It's just that's where it initially started. Other variations on this scam are that you need to pay a fee in order to receive a loan, receive a prize winnings, receive a grant, apply for a job, or even recover funds lost to fraud. So what will happen is somebody will fall for this scam, and then once they've fallen for it, the scammer will go back and say, "Hey, we've seen that you fell for this scam. We can help recover the funds for you," and they'll basically scam you again. So basically, be very wary of anything that asks you to pay up front. If they claim to be an official, check their credentials using an independent source, not using the information that they provided. And don't be pressurized into making a decision. One-time passcode scam. A few seconds ago, I told you to turn on two-factor authentication, but this is a problem with two-factor authentication. Many companies, including banks, will use a one-time passcode to verify your identity online. You receive a phone call, and the caller will ask you to confirm your identity by giving them a one-time passcode, which you will then receive by text during the call. The one-time passcode itself is genuine. It really has come from that company. However, the reason you've been sent it isn't genuine. The scammer needs you to tell them that passcode so that they can access your account. Before Christmas, I got a phone call from O2. I am an O2 customer, and this chap told me that because of COVID, I was entitled to a 40% discount on my contract. Now, I'm a pay-as-you-go customer, so I don't have a contract, so I knew that was suspicious. And he said, all I had to do to get this discount was to give him this verification code. And sure enough, my phone went ping and a text message arrived with a verification code. And he wanted me to give it to him. And I said, it says on here, thank you for requesting a one-time verification code. Never give this number to anybody. And I said to him, and he was saying, oh yes, but you're all right giving it to me. And of course, no, I obviously didn't give it to him. I hung up on him. So what was the scam? Basically, what he had done is he'd gone onto O2's website. He'd obviously had a random list of O2 numbers, and he put mine in, and I'd answered. Then he'd gone onto your account page on O2's website and clicked on the forgotten password, and that would have asked him for his phone number. So he put in my phone number. I got sent a text message, but of course he couldn't go any further unless I told him what that passcode was. And if I had told him what that passcode was, he would have been able to access my O2 account. So you have to be very careful about these passcodes. Nobody will ask you for one of these. If anybody asks you for a one-time passcode, they're a scammer. The next one we come on to is computer service fraud. So you're notified that there's a problem with your computer. It either comes by a phone call or a browser pop-up. Or it may be, they may even say they're from your broadband supplier. So they might say, oh, there's a problem with your broadband. And the ultimate aim of the scam is for them to gain access to your computer. Once they have access to your computer, they will often show you things. So they may show you a list of error messages. Well, what they tend to show people is the system log for Windows. And if you go into the system log on any Windows computer, it will be full of error messages. And that's perfectly normal. However, what they will try and do is convince you that these error messages are in fact the hackers trying to get into your computer. Right, so the final thing is courier fraud. So you receive a phone call from someone pretending to be your bank's fraud department, and they need help in the fraud investigation. They want you to withdraw money, which they will collect from you. So they will tell you not to tell bank staff what's happening because that will damage the investigation. So if you receive unexpected phone calls about your bank, just hang up. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of how scams work and what you can do to keep yourself safe. The important thing to remember with this is that knowledge is the scammer's enemy. So talk to people, tell people about this presentation, tell people, talk to people about scams. That way, because if people know about these, and if people know they're being conned, the scam can't work. Live Well and Future Vision. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. The Live Well events take place on the second Thursday of each month at 10 AM. Future Vision sessions take place on the fourth Thursday of each month at 10 AM and are technology events aimed at people living with sight loss. To attend the next session or to suggest future topics, please contact your local Sight Society who will be able to provide you with the Zoom link.